Welcome to the third episode in these short films, and welcome to a step back into my childhood.
Yeah, the previous episode we had a bit of a walk through my childhood in Lye Valley, but yeah, this is somewhere you spent quite a lot of your youth, I suppose.
Yeah, and even younger than that. We're in the Global Retreat Centre in Unham Courtney, and I grew up in a village called Marsh Bolden, a mile behind the camera. And basically, when I use my senses here, I can sense myself running around as a child. This was my playground, and hopefully this film will give you an insight into the size of this place, but also again, how you can step outside your front door, enjoy nature even more by engaging your senses, and hopefully you'll be inspired enough to actually come and visit this place because it's free.
Yeah, and this is my first time being here. I've never actually got this far over to Unham Courtney. I've been to the Arboretum, which isn't too far away from here, but what a stunning building. Absolutely
Yeah, it
stunning.
is.
This is the Harcourt family.
This used to be the Harcourt family home, and there are 4 very famous gardeners involved in these gardens. Capability Brown, he was here sort of the late 1700s. William Mason, he was about the same time, and this is the last garden in existence that William Mason built. You got William Robinson in the early 1900s, and do you know who the 4th famous gardener is?
You?
Myself. so welcome and enjoy this film.
Indeed.
Okay, William, welcome to William Mason's garden.
William Mason's garden?
Yeah,
Not
this
William
is...
Mankelow's garden.
No, William Mason. And as I say, this is the last one of his gardens that exists to this day, but it looks nothing like how it was originally laid out. So with this little section here, I'm going to talk about sight, how you look at this to read history, and I'm also going to talk about not using your senses, but at all, and just being. But
yeah, what is this behind us here? It's almost like a veranda or sort of style trellis sort of style thing here with some wind chimes underneath there with a nice. It looks like a poem of some type. What is this here?
Well, basically, this is part of the old orangery. Well, the oranges used to be there used to be a building out the back of that, and that's where the roots were. But the oranges used to grow on this wall, which is south-facing, used to heat up. So that's the remains of an orangery. So all this other stuff is sort of like a modern-day adaptation. But that stone wall is what's left of the orangery. And there's a structure behind. We're going to come to that. It's one of the only gardens in Britain that's actually got a temple, a consecrated temple, as a garden feature.
Actual proper consecrated temple.
Yeah, it was built as a garden feature and is now a consecrated chapel. See.
Interesting.
Okay, but how I want you to think, look, use sight first. You look around this garden, and there's lots of little island beds. And that's what William Mason was good at. He planted island beds, and it was cultivated plants and wild flowers, a mixture. But you look around, there's some large trees. Well, actually, this garden originally was bounded by a hedge, a yew hedge and holly hedge and all sorts. But that hedge has been lost and they've turned into trees. So when you actually look at this, you lose the fact that it used to be an enclosed hedge garden.
So why have they replaced that then, or was it just...
No, it's just, it's 300 years old, this garden. At times nobody was looking after it, and it just matures. And there's no photographs, so people didn't know how they had to keep it. But as I say, this used to be the Harcourt family home until 1948. They had to move out for inheritance. Laws changed and couldn't afford to maintain the property. So the Oxford University bought it, and then you had Cullen Teacher Training College leased it. You had Rothmans were here, and now it's like the Global Retreat Centre. But all the Second World War aerial photographs were analysed here as well.
Actually, what, in the main
in the building,
yeah.
in the main, because the rooms were big enough.
Yeah, I imagine this with the large format photography that they would have been using at the time to get a decent size image.
Exactly.
For it to be good quality enough, yeah, they would have had to have very, very large prints.
But what I want you to think about, and we're talking about senses in this series of films. Am I not using any senses at all? Not engaging with your sight, not listening, not touching, not smelling, not tasting, and just being. Because how can you fail to achieve the act of just simply being in a garden like this? So we're encouraging people to use their senses, but maybe just chill out and relax.
I had a moment just as we came in here. The where we are it's actually on the edge of a relatively steep part of the Thames Valley, and you can see right maybe a good 6 or 7 miles across the valley. And I just went and stood there for about a minute or so, and I just switched off. It just felt, it just felt great just being able to kind of just be surrounded by all this lovely greenery, amazing trees and everything like that, and just switching off. And it's the most natural environment to do that in.
So what the message from this section is maybe okay, engage with the environment by actually engaging your senses, but also once you really master that, by switching off all your senses, it gives you a level of engagement that you couldn't achieve otherwise.
And also, if you really are that switched off, then you might also then start picking up things that you might not necessarily have heard or seen.
Yeah.
And if you're go back to the very first time we ever spoke to each other, Stuart, and the whole idea of being quiet and being very not leaving any footprints at all.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed then what you'll come across. We came across a rabbit just a minute ago, didn't we? Just sat there, startled a rabbit. I don't think it kind of heard us coming because we were being relatively quiet, weren't we? So you never know what you'll see if you do that. So this is the orange. What was this?
This is the orangery. Yeah.
Now up on the hill here, we have a almost like a Greek-like temple structure.
Exactly, a Greek temple. What do you think that's made out of?
Well, my heart says it's made out of stone, but my head probably says it's made out of concrete.
It's made out of wood.
Is it wood?
Yeah, those pillars are actually wood. And so if you actually use your sense of touch on that, you'd actually realise, it's actually not stone at all. And that's actually a Greek temple dedicated to the Flora, who was the goddess of flowers or something.
Yes.
So there is some brick components to it, but fundamentally that's wood. So your sense of touch reveals that.
And the sense of sound as well.
Yeah, strangely when you're in there, the acoustics are you have to be really well trained to tell whether that was wood or stone, I think. But I think you're so taken with the view when you stood up there. But we're gonna move on to the next section. And you said about we're on the top of a hill, and you can see Oxfordshire. I want to pick up on that point further on.